Jonkershoek Valley? Or
Jon-
Jonkers?
Jonkershoek Valley.
Jonkershoek Valley, yes, with Jose. Or actually, I bet you pronounce your name because I'm not sure
It's
which language I should pronounce
it's
it in.
José Condé.
Yes, owner and winemaker of the Stark-Conde Wines. Now, this valley, which is very particular, where is it?
This is on the southern end of Stellenbosch.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tiny little valley that's tucked in, actually very close to the town. So it's only about 8 minutes away, but it's very isolated and you know, kind of away from everything, and right next to a national park.
You drive out of town and you're in the suburbs, and all of a sudden you feel as if you're in another world.
Yes, yeah, and when you're in the vineyards, you can't see any houses or cars or anything, so you really do feel like you're away from things.
So this valley, do you think it is different from the rest of Stellenbosch?
This valley is definitely different than the rest of Stellenbosch. It is probably the most unique terroir within Stellenbosch. The main factor is that it has double the amount of rainfall than Stellenbosch average than any other ward in Stellenbosch. That is because of these high mountains that that hold in the rain clouds over the summertime. Sorry, I got that wrong. Over the winter time, so it has about twice as much winter rainfall. Our summer rainfall is not that different than the rest of Stellenbosch, but it has this higher rainfall. And what it makes is that early in the season, the skins and the seeds and the tannins in them are developing differently. So Jonkershoek is known for having a very distinct tannin quality. Most people refer to it as an elegance in the wines, an elegant tannin that it has.
Yeah. And in terms of soil and terroir, what kind of soil do you have here?
We have a decomposed granite soil,
Right.
very typical of Stellenbosch mountain sites. Decomposed granite with a fair amount of clay subsoils, and high iron content.
Okay. Now you make quite a lot of different wines. So how would you describe, in general, your winemaking style, or the way you make the wines, or your philosophy behind your wines?
Well, this estate, we've been sustainable for more than 10 years,
Yeah.
and we are in our third year of organic farming. Our general philosophy is keep things as simple as possible.
Yeah.
I'm not religious about anything, but we tend to use only natural yeast, and we tend to not add anything to the wines and just try to keep them as simple as possible. We don't usually do fining and filtration unless it's absolutely necessary. So I think that's basically it. We try to express the area that we live in. I think we are often describe ourselves as a Cabernet producer because it's about 60% of our production, and it's a big focus of what we do, and this area is really known as being one of the prime spots for Cabernet in South Africa. But we do a few other things, but we always try to make wines that we like to drink.
Yeah.
We have a very popular cafe here,
Yes.
and people, it's a casual place, but people do drink a lot of wine, and so we want wines that can go nicely with nice long South African summers.
So apart from the Cabernet, if you would pick one or two wines which you think are particularly emblematic for what you're doing, what would that be?
Well, we have a very special vineyard right when you drive onto the property, and that is planted for a mix of white varieties, and we make a wine from that called the Field Blend.
Right.
And it is a blend of Chenin Blanc, Roussanne, Viognier, and Verdelho. It's made quite unusually in that it's mainly co-fermented. So we pick it, we'll pick it very close together, press it, blend it, and then ferment it instead of waiting to the end. But one thing that's special about that vineyard, it's one of the oldest continuously farmed vineyards in Stellenbosch. So there have been grapes on that site for more than 350 years.
But not the vines you have today.
Not the vines we have today. Those are relatively young,
Yeah.
only about 15 years old. But but it has a long history.
Yeah. And you have a few other projects also that you're working with, don't you?
I have another winery that I have in partnership with two other winemakers, two brothers, called Man.
Yeah.
It's the names taken from our wives' names, Marie, Annetta, and Nikki.
Yeah.
And our Man business, we focus on really good value varietal wines, but that business also owns a wine estate called Leafland, which is
Leafland.
Leafland,
Like leaf on a tree, or?
like Liev, which in
Ah.
Afrikaans means love land. Uh,
Ah, okay.
and that was a very well-known South African winery. When I first came to South Africa 22 years ago, it was widely considered to be amongst the top 5 of South African wineries. But it fell under hard times because the owner was not so interested. But it gave us an opportunity to purchase it at a good price, and we're busy developing that and
So
trying to
that is
resurrect
you're
that.
already making and marketing wines from that
We're already
property, or?
we're already doing that. We're because the vineyards were in such poor condition, it's going to take us some time to get them up, up to
Yeah,
scratch.
yeah.
So we've made a few estate wines, but they're very limited. But little by little, we'll do more estate wines.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe the last thing I would like to add is that here at Stark-Conde Wines, we're sitting at the cafe called Postcard Cafe. And it's called Postcard Cafe for a reason. When you sit and looking at the view, it's quite
Yes.
amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Well, there was actually 2 reasons for the name. One is, of course, when you look at the views, it's really what would they call, like a postcard.
Yes.
And then it was also the fact that our whole family has a lot of different roots,
Yeah.
and it was the idea that the food that we would serve, it's casual, but it would have little touches of other countries that we either that are part of our roots or that we like to visit. So it's got a little bit of Japanese touch. That is a little bit of American. For instance, my mother's, her special recipe is one of the desserts that we have, and same thing, like things that we've seen around the world in our travels,
Does
and we
that
put a
work
bit
the
of
same
that.
way with your winemaking? You're traveling around, you're picking up a little bit here and there, or is it more traditional South African?
No, look, I'm not traditional South African.
Yeah.
I'm American. I've been here 22 years now. Yeah, certainly I bring different ideas to it. I
Yeah.
don't even know what it means to be, to be traditionally South African. So,
Yeah.
at the same time, I want to make wines that are unique to our place.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to make California wines or French wines or mimic anything. We're trying to make the best Jonkershoek Valley wines that we possibly
And you're
can.
doing a good job of it. Thank you very
Thank you.
much.